Guard your heart, mind, and time. Those three things will determine the health of everything else in your life. Andrina Sawyer. Chapter 5. Catching Flights, Not Feelings. I become extremely timid whenever he attempts to FaceTime me because he looks so motherfucking good. Okay. Let me answer his call. Jay is a man of few words, though. Whenever we FaceTime, it seems like he just enjoys staring at me and hearing me talk. Don't get me wrong, he will give his input on the subject matter at hand, and seldom does he bring up a topic himself. Even when he does suggest a topic, I'm usually the only one to elaborate on my response. His intellect is evident, and his sex appeal is undeniable. But was he a man of his word, I wondered? He was the same complexion as Bama, and seeing as how I met them on the same app, my expectations weren't very high for this light-skinned Greek god. Looking the way he does, I'm sure he has many options. But this conversation was going to prove my assumption wrong. I don't have much time right now. I called you to make sure you were still able to come see me this week. Yes, I can come see you, I said. The first thought I had was that flights were probably going to be crazy expensive a week before departure for the 4th of July weekend. I didn't voice those thoughts, though. I didn't want him to think I wasn't used to a guy spending money on me, even though I wasn't. Instead, I said, "You're going to New Mexico, right?" As if I forgot. "Yeah. Just send me a picture of your ID and text me your email for your flight itinerary." Wow, this is really happening. That sounds like a plan. I get off work at 7:30 a.m. and I'm going to be about 30 minutes from the airport. So please schedule my flight after work because I might oversleep if I go home. I'll bring my stuff with me to work. Please get me a flight that gives me enough time to get to the airport. All right. Well, you should have your email before the night is over. Have a good night, beautiful. I'll talk to you later. I'm extremely curious to know why Jay is an online dater as fine and successful as he is. He seems to be the male version of me. What's his story? What landed him on the app? I couldn't wait to be in his presence and ask him all of these things. We haven't really spoken a whole lot in detail about why he's single because he works so much. And when we talk late at night, I'm at work. He's at work. So we have as much conversation as we possibly can. But it's been in pieces. I know I'm a good catch. And I know why I'm on this dating site. And I know what has happened to me. But who left this Adonis of a man? And why did they? On the outside looking in, he was the type I wouldn't want to just fuck around with. He definitely exceeded my internet expectations and standards. Apparently, because the only other guy that I have really been entertaining online was Bama Boo, who set the bar very low. So now I'm contemplating getting off this site, depending on what goes down with Mr. Border Patrol. Baby, I got my email. He even sent me a text letting me know that my flight was booked and a screenshot of what time my flight left the morning after my shift. My departure was an hour and a half after I got off work, so I had just enough time to park my car at the airport, check my bags, and get on my flight. The City Girls had just put out a song about getting flued out, And here I was getting ready to live my best city girl life. He picked me up from the airport in his uniform, looking just like the pictures. I mean, we had FaceTime multiple times and I knew what he looked like. But to see him in person, knowing I was about to be laying next to him, it all seemed so surreal. He had just gotten off work and I had just gotten off work. We were about to shower, fuck, and cuddle. I could not wait to feel his body next to me and feel how strong he was inside of me. I barely got a nap on my hour-and-a-half flight just off the thought of being next to him. He greeted me with a hug and took my bags as we walked to his company truck. I could tell that he was happy to see me and excited that I looked like my pictures as well. Angles can be deceiving these days, and women have become masters of illusion online. I tried to hold back my Kool-Aid grin, but on the inside, I was happy as fuck. We got back to the hotel, and as I got comfortable and took a shower, I put on something cute, but not too fancy. Just a nice little pair of red panties and a tank top. I was preparing for that scene when Melvin was bouncing around the room inside of Jody's mama. He definitely possessed the ability physically. When he came out of the bathroom with his black boxer briefs on, Miss Mocha started to tingle with anticipation of what was to come. It was the first fuck of the vacation, and I felt a little disconnected. His rod was a nice medium length. If I had to guess, I would say it was a solid 6.5 inches. He didn't even attempt to French kiss my lower lips, which was off-putting to say the least. But I was wetter than a motherfucker looking at him, so we didn't need any extra oral lubrication. There were some small kisses, a few ass slaps, and a mediocre thrusting. There was little passion, no sucking and slobbing or hot and heavy gas for air. Our hotel neighbors had no idea intercourse was taking place, and that wasn't what I signed up for. His looks had me deceived. I expected him to be able to lay pipe better than that southern nigga back in AZ. I was used to men bringing their A game the first time around. It's like they wanted to dickmatize me. Maybe that was a broke nigga quality. Cause the type of dick I just got was like we lived in the suburbs with a nanny and were married for the past 15 years. It was nowhere near vacation dick. After he politely cleaned me off and I rolled over, I kept thinking that if Bama Boo had his muscle mass, he would have me sneaking in the bathroom to brag to my friends about all the things I would be willing to do to keep this man around after what I had just experienced. Nobody ever really wants to admit when a man has dickmatized them. But if you were a woman and you were over the age of 30, you have done something crazy for a guy that trampled all over your values and morals, all because that thing between his legs he know how to slang. But this experience wasn't that at all. So I rolled over and went to sleep. He could have just been tired since we both just got off work. He probably just wanted a little sample, a little taste to put him to sleep. What was quite alarming was the fact that he did not use a condom. He did not pull out. Why was he so comfortable entering me this way? This experience was not like we were just meeting for the first time. He was not cautious at all. He gave me what I would call lazy relationship dick. We needed to discuss this for sure in the morning. As I drifted to sleep, he pulled me close and wrapped his 50-pound arm around me, like those black love couples do in the memes on Instagram. He kissed me a couple of times as if to say, I love you and good night. Or maybe that's what I was fantasizing about. He told me that he had to work in the morning, which was the 4th of July. I was disappointed because he was supposed to be off. I was leaving the day after. I brought my laptop with me, so I had things to occupy a couple hours of my time. He left his debit card so I can get food and drinks at the hotel and I could order room service or delivery while he was gone. He was chivalrous, very nice, and he seemed to be very trusting of me. I was literally living a hood novel, and somebody had to hear this. When he returned, we opted to grab a bite to eat and catch a movie at the nearby theater. We strolled around a couple of stores, and he gave me a tour of the town. I was enjoying his company, but it dawned on me that our conversation lacked depth. I didn't want to seem overly probing, especially since he wasn't asking much either. Feeling the need for a more candid discussion, I brought up the topic of our decision to engage in unprotected sex and questioned his comfort with it. We had both sized each other up based on our professions and self-care routines, assuming cleanliness regarding STDs. However, as the saying goes, assumptions make an ass of you and me. Luckily, that wasn't the case for us. He assured me he believed I was clean, and if pregnancy were to happen and be undesired, he would handle it, or we would handle it together. Despite his nonchalant attitude, the prospect of potential parenthood on our first meeting felt somewhat concerning, considering his previous marriage and 2 children. After we got dinner and couldn't figure out a movie or find one nearby, we went back to the hotel and decided to try this intimacy thing again. The overall experience was subpar, definitely not up to my expectation. We cuddled a lot afterwards and ordered some room service. We talked, and then he told me how he enjoyed my company, intellect, and being able to communicate with me. He explained to me how he and his ex-wife have been divorced for 2 years. His travel played a big part in the demise of their relationship. He went on to say that he didn't feel that he could just be with one woman for the rest of his life, and that he tried that with her, but it got boring. I couldn't believe he just used that word after what I had been experiencing sexually on this trip. He wanted to try new things so the relationship stayed fun and flirty. Apparently, she wasn't down because they're divorced now. I just listened to the explanation of events. The next day had come and we had slept the night away. We had more unprotected sex. Not that much more excitement, but every time he came close to me, I felt so protected, warm, and desired. I was just reflecting on why I was even out here as I sat and worked on my website, waiting for him to pick me up to take me to my flight. He was an overall gentleman. He didn't make me feel like a hoe, like he paid to fuck me. I truly believe he enjoyed my companionship and the time we spent together. But he also seemed as though he had a problem with expressing himself freely, allowing himself to smile and laugh a lot. He reminds me of those war veterans with PTSD who have trouble expressing their inner happiness and emotions. He gives me those vibes. I'm still looking forward to talking to him, and I even would like to get to know him a little better, regardless of the fact that he's made it clear what type of sexual relationship he wants. For now, I would like to be the person who catches flights and not feelings with him. So we'll see how long this continues until the next time he flies me out somewhere. My phone rang, and I thought it was Jay telling me he was downstairs, but it wasn't. Look at who's on my line now. I guess I'm popping when I'm busy. Lately, he's been too distracted in his own life to make time for me. Omar was calling me. I guess he noticed he hadn't heard from me for the 4th of July and probably wondered why I wasn't available to come to his little soiree at his house, or why I hadn't been on social media for him to see what I've been up to this past weekend. But I'm going to go ahead and answer it. All right, cousins, you already know what to do. If you made it to the end of this chapter, drop a police officer in the chat so that I know you made it to the end. And stay tuned because tomorrow another chapter drops.